Okay, let's just address the elephant in the room. You're in your 30s, you're making decent money, but you're constantly staring at your bank account thinking, where the hell did it all go? Look, you are absolutely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to completely rewire how you see this decade. We're looking at some wild data today that exposes a massive, hidden gap between the financial life society tells you to have and what's actually happening behind closed doors. It's the ultimate paradox, right? On paper, you are earning more money than you ever have before. But in reality, you are financially treading water. Rent is completely out of control. Daycare costs look like a second mortgage. Or maybe you don't have kids, but you're being bled dry by endless destination weddings and struggling to scrape together a down payment. It literally feels like you're trying to fill a bathtub with a teaspoon.
Behavioral experts actually have a specific name for this chaotic phase. They call your 30s the messy middle. And honestly, realizing this changed everything for me. It means your stress is not a personal failure. It's just this beautiful, terrifying disaster where your career, starting a family, and intense social pressures all crash into each other at the exact same time. The idea of perfect, uninterrupted financial planning, yeah, in this decade, that's practically impossible.
But what turns this natural pressure into a full-blown panic attack is the psychological trap of comparison. You log in online and see your old college roommate buying a house with a huge garage. You see your coworkers taking lavish European vacations. And meanwhile, you're eating cereal for dinner just out of sheer exhaustion. But here is the counterintuitive twist. Most of those people, they are secretly in the exact same boat as you. We are constantly comparing our messy, behind-the-scenes reality to their carefully curated highlight reels.
And the statistical reality completely shatters that illusion of everyone else having it together. If everyone is doing so amazingly well, what do you think the actual median net worth is for a 30-year-old? It's just $39,000. And keep in mind, net worth is everything you own minus everything you owe. So most of that $39,000 isn't even spendable cash. It's mostly tied up in a depreciating car or just a tiny sliver of home equity.
When you dig a little deeper, the truth gets even more fascinating. If we look strictly at liquid money, meaning actual cash and investments, the typical 30-year-old only has about $17,000 to their name. Once you actually grasp that, the whole narrative just flips. That intense, suffocating panic you feel about being behind in life, it's largely an illusion. It's a mirage created by a society that hides its massive debt and aggressively flaunts its spending.
So, the data gives us this massive, much-needed reality check. Get this. The average person doesn't even start seriously investing until age 33. And the median age for a first-time homebuyer, that's 40 years old. If you've got even $50 a month going into some kind of retirement account, you are literally already ahead of the curve. Personal finance is a marathon, not a sprint, and every single person is starting from a completely different line.
Now, staring at the slow progress in your own accounts might leave you wondering, okay, but is time still on my side? Because right now, it feels like you're moving at a snail's pace. But I'm going to show you the hidden math that proves why your 30s are actually the most explosive wealth-building decade of your entire life. It all comes down to the wealth multiplier effect. And listen, these aren't just theoretical pie-in-the-sky numbers. This is exactly how money behaves over time. Every single dollar you invest in your early 30s has the potential to multiply by 20 times by the time you hit retirement. And even if you're in your late 30s, that multiplier is still a massive 8x. Sure, starting in your 20s is great, but starting right now in your 30s is still incredibly, undeniably powerful. Let's look at how this builds in the real world. Imagine you've scraped together $100,000 by age 30. If you did absolutely nothing else, like you never saved another single dime, and just let that money sit in an account growing at an average of 8% a year, it would literally double to over $200,000 by the time you turn 40. That is the magic of compound interest doing the heavy lifting while you just go about your life.
And this uncovers the exact psychological root cause of why you feel so broke right now. We all expect compound interest to be fireworks from day one, but it isn't. In years 1 through 6, you are doing all the heavy lifting. The growth is pretty much just your own deposits. Compound interest starts out as a whisper, but right around year 8, it tags in, and by year 15, it becomes an absolute roar. You're building an invisible underground foundation right now.
To protect that foundation, let's talk about a massive behavioral twist on something you've probably heard a million times, the emergency fund. Most people view this as a super boring defensive safety net, but actually, it's an offensive wealth-building weapon. Think about it. When a transmission blows, the person without cash goes into 20% interest credit card debt, which completely derails their future.
But with that boring cash buffer, you just pay it and move on. You are literally buying yourself margin in life.
Now, here's another huge trap in your 30s, the illusion of sophistication. Suddenly, because you're a bit older, making more, you think your money needs to be fancy. You start picking individual stocks, staring obsessively at crypto charts, and trying to time the market. But really, it's just being busy doing nothing. It creates high stress and a complete illusion of control. The actual reality? Quiet, massive success comes from a totally boring foundation. We're talking low-cost index funds and pure, relentless automation.
So cutting through all the chaos of the messy middle requires a super simple root cause strategy. First step, track down those old 401k accounts you've got scattered across past employers. Second, stop bleeding fees and consolidate them into a single IRA. And third, automate those boring index fund deposits. The very second you can see one single clear financial picture, that overwhelming feeling of drowning, it drops dramatically.
Okay, so the boring stuff is automated. But what happens when you finally score that promotion? You get a $15,000 raise, you feel rich for a second, and then you immediately come face to face with the absolute ultimate behavioral boss of your 30s. That boss is lifestyle creep. And this right here is the fork in the road. If you immediately increase your spending to match your new income, getting a nicer apartment, leasing a luxury car, you are going to stay broke, just at a higher income bracket. You absorb the wealth. But the people who actually build real wealth, they practice invisible wealth. They keep their lifestyle absolutely identical, and they invest the entirety of that raise. That one single choice will fundamentally rewire your financial future.
Through all of this, you have to remember that perfect is the enemy of good in the messy middle. Your financial progress is never going to be a perfect, straight line going up. Sometimes you move forward, sometimes you stall out sideways, and sometimes a random life crisis shoves you backward. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you are a normal human being living a complex life. Persistence beats perfection every single time.
And this leads us to a really profound realization. The goal isn't just to die with the most money. The goal is to have enough to live the life you actually want to live. Your 30s are supposed to be memorable, right? Don't become so obsessively focused on winning a spreadsheet game or hitting some arbitrary milestone that you forget money is merely a tool. It's just a tool to buy the experiences and the security that you genuinely value.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on today. Take a hard look at your bank statements this month and ask yourself, are you spending on what you truly value or just what society tells you to value? What are you ruthlessly cutting out and what are you intentionally spending on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll keep exploring how to build your behavioral wealth in our next explainer.